Jackie, unmute mo dyan, Jackie.
Sir,
Joseph D, kay unmute. Joseph D, unmute.
Uwa, i-unmute lo.
Okay.
I think ako ti mute le.
Ayun, okay.好，阿咪，大家好。今暗嘅講座會是由教育學院1969、1972年協友會主辦，今晚由小弟李小陽協友擔任講座會主持人。現在請本會一篇常務理事柯建倫協友佇歡迎時，然後請本會常務理事施德金協友介紹在座幾位貴賓，有請柯建倫協友。
大家好，本人代表高中學院697里協友會表示無任的歡迎，各位來賓，希望大家撥出寶貴的時間，熱烈響應踴躍參加出席指導，互今暗的webinar講座成功不肖哦。本協友會第二年2022畢業50周年的金禧大慶，特指舉辦 In the Autumn of Life There's Beauty Webinar 講座會，特別邀請菲律賓國立大學教授 Dr. Grace Ko 相關賢運博士主講哦，特別李小英同學詳細介紹主講人哦，希望聽了主講人的談話哦，大家的生活會充滿歡喜哦，美滿幸福哦，謝謝。
有請施德金同學。
小英兄，多謝。大家好暗。請允許我介紹今仔暗出席的幾位貴賓哦。咱這陣有尊敬的苗校高中學院的董事會副董事長施榮淼學長，也有咱的高中學院的校長黃元勇博士、副校長蔡藝術博士、副校長蔡美美博士，也有校友總校任的理事長，也就是咱苗校校友會理事長梁淑美學長，了徽華少年總會副理事長，也就是咱苗校校友會校任理事長施志芬學長，了在菲律賓駐印尼共和國黃大師夫人，苗校校友會副理事長李元宵博士。也有副理事長陳一哲學長，苗校的董事李仲霞學長、黃培英學長，也有苗校前校長徽華少年總會秘書長顏仲剛博士。這個今暗咱得到新工會中學校長吳子美校長吼。出席徽華國校友會聯誼總會創會會長柯麗蓉學長，該沙華的青年聯合會創會會長洪玉華學長，徽華菲律賓廈門商會China Chinatown TV 非中電視台台長是玉娥學長，新華 TV 非華電視台台長姚麗英學長，也有真濟尊敬的非華社會領導、校長、先生、學長、新聞界的朋友，就我無法一一介紹了。感謝您的公認支持及鼓勵，多謝。
各位來賓，你確定主講人講解之後，咱大會有備辦1分鐘，免讓大家自由來發表問題。請您先舉手，先後發問，或者將您的問題拍入 chat box 內面，我哋一條一條底下來解答。Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Please allow me to introduce to you, to present to you our guest speaker for tonight, Professor of Educational Psychology at UP Diliman. She also finished her bachelor, master, doctoral degrees at UP Diliman. A writer, contributor of Philippine Daily Inquirer. Her topic for tonight, in the autumn of life, there is beauty. 人生的秋天尤其美，或美在夕阳下。Ladies and gentlemen, we are highly privileged and extremely jubilant to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Grace Khoo. 歡迎歡迎！現在咱將以下時間交予咱今晚嘅主講人，就是菲律賓國立大學教授。相關賢運博士，歡迎歡迎，咱以熱烈嘅掌聲來歡迎。
多謝各位兄師吼，我看是恁比我較濟迄淡薄，因為若是照小型兄嘅迄字吼，伊是比我較時大淡薄。我甲高中有啥物關係呢？阮媽媽是讀高中嘅，是1930幾年，所以你若伊是1919出世嘅，所以伊過敏嘅時陣3年前是搞迄所以我有聽起淡薄關於高中中學吼頂禮拜吼小英兄問我看我毋知有法來恁的這個 I was expecting batches 67 to something in 有這個聚會吼and I thought yeah this would be a good time to introduce this topic to all of you. In the autumn of life there is beauty, because I wrote a book about seasons of life. So I started with spring, summer, autumn, and then winter. And when I was taking my postdoctorate at Harvard in year 2003, I took my postdoctorate actually at Harvard University in USA. The best time to enjoy the scenery was actually autumn. So I took quite a number of pictures of autumn in Boston, Massachusetts. And when I started to think about this topic, I like to look at the sceneries, the photos of autumn time in USA. So I'm sharing my screen now. If you can take a look at that. If you're using a cell phone, probably would be too small, but if you're using your laptop, you'd get a better view. Okay. So in the autumn of life, there is beauty.
Doctor, excuse me.
Yes?
Upat ng full screen po. F5.
Yeah, I'm doing full screen now. Okay.
Kung ekwatyo si Hige PowerPoint. Ayan, Jose. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you have to, yeah. There's a delay. I'm actually in Hong Kong. Yeah, okay. In the autumn of life, there is beauty. Are you looking at the full screen now, Jackie?
Yes, Doctor. Jose.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right. So, what's your favorite season? Is it spring, summer, autumn, or winter? I believe most of us, if I had taken a look at the gallery of those who appeared on video, we are in the autumn of life. And this is a really nice season. And we still can do a number of things, lots of learning to do. And tonight, I'd like to speak particularly about three things. In the autumn of life, we are concerned about retirement, and then we're afraid of dementia. But what I'd like to end this evening's talk is how we can make sure that we are learning lifelong, in any way, And lifelong learning has been one of my favorite advocacies because I'm such a person. I'm a lifelong learner. So I hope that after tonight, you'll think of many, many ways of learning so as to avoid, because that's the best antidote to dementia. Okay, so when you celebrate your birthday, hopefully the cake can still contain the number of candles of your age. And I was waiting for this event to start, and I thought, maybe Jackie was the one who was organizing and making the music play, and that music has released me. And that speaks about the time we were in when Tom Jones was singing, "Please Release Me." But here we are celebrating birthday, and each time you celebrate your birthday, what were your thoughts and feelings? This Joanne Chittister was a nun, Sudu Soni. And one time I was reading one of her books, and it appears to me that people thought that aging is something bad. But have you ever thought that age actually comes to the truly blessed? Aging is actually Hyung Hok, to have arrived at this age. And even from the Bible, like King Solomon, he says, "Gray hair is crown of splendor. It is attained by a righteous life." So what happens when you have gray hair? Do we go and have it dyed immediately? And during this season of the pandemic, I could see on screen from the news that many of our senators had to let go of dyeing their hair, coloring their hair, and leave it to what it should appear. Gray hair actually is a crown of splendor. And the righteous will flourish, they will still bear fruit in old age. Old age, we can still bear fruit. And we want to stay fresh and green. So, and is not wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding? There are good things that will happen that will only appear in our old age or even middle age. So if we look at the Analects, Lungu, what did Kongzi? 子曰：“吾十有无而志以学，30而立，40而不惑，50而知天命，60而顺，70而从心所欲，不逾矩。” And don't worry if we are not as good as 教中嘅校友漢文比白學堂較好。It says, the master said, at 15, my heart was set on learning. At 30, I stood firm. At 40, I was unperturbed. At 50, I knew the mandate of heaven. At 60, my ear was obedient. At 70, I could follow my heart's desire without transgressing the norm. So for every decade, we have very different developmental tasks. And that's what I'm teaching. Yeah, I've been teaching at UP for 25 years in developmental psychology, educational psychology, cognitive psychology. There should be growth, development, and developmental tasks are different at each decade of our life. Yeah. So Plato also saw old age as a time in life when one can be closest to wisdom and best to practice any virtues acquired, free from bodily desires and other such distractions. So he even said, he who is of a calm and happy nature will hardly feel the pressure of age, but to him who is of an opposite disposition, youth and age are equally a burden. Yeah, whether you are old or young is a burden if you don't carry it with a light heart. Yeah, to be calm and to be happy. And if you look at this graph, I'd like always to show this. People are scared of aging. They think that the life would be miserable after certain years. Actually, it's a U shape. It's an inverted. Yeah, the U bend. Self-report well-being is at its lowest at around age 50. And it goes right up, you see, until 82 to 85. It reaches actually a very well satisfying wellness feeling. Yeah. So hopefully, I believe most of us are from the 50 and onwards. It's coming back, the satisfaction rate. It's not going down and down and down, and it's dreadful and it's miserable because we thought life would end at certain age. And so we wasted our time not enjoying our life and doing things that would be meaningful. And this is the time when we have arrived at the third age. And this is what we mean by third age. First age happens when we were dependent. Yeah, we still had to depend on our parents. Second age, when we become independent and yet we have to work, we have a family to feed, we feel very responsible. Third age happens when our responsibility is now lessened. Some of us probably are retired, or family is an empty nested because your children have their own families. And before we arrive at the fourth age, and that is when we will have declining health, and increasing dependence again on family members. So we are right now at the third age. And isn't it wonderful that we can be gathering here through technology and start to think of how we can make the best time of our third age. Yeah. So attitude matters in how we age. Attitude that demoralize includes feeling of uselessness, feeling self-pity, bitter, blaming other people with so many fears and suspicions, regret in life, and guilt. So all of this will make you a cranky old person. So people have this stereotype of old cranky man, or nagging housewife, because the attitude really matters on how we age. Are you aging gracefully and with courage? You see, that is how we should look at aging. Now, perspectives on aging depends on your biological aging, your cognitive aging, and psychological aging. I'm sure you can invite a lot of doctors, medical doctors, to speak about biological aging. I'm more concerned, however, in my field about cognitive aging and psychological aging. So I used to hold workshops, and with this group of, I required them to be beyond age 40 to attend the workshop. Well, how old they are biologically, chronological age, and then your biological age. So you may be 65, maybe, but you are very fit and healthy. You would be maybe 58 or 55 in your biological age. Cognitive age. How old are you cognitively? And when is your best peak of cognitive age? And how are you feeling in your age, psychological age? So I believe that we should maintain a lower, younger cognitive and psychological age. I think I have learned to do that. Cognitive age is so much younger than my biological age or chronological age. And I want to keep my feelings and emotions regulated such that I could maintain a great psychological age as well. So to tell you some examples, I sleep 8 hours each day, each night. Never in my life had been suffering from insomnia or sleep disorders. And I read every day. I almost, during this pandemic time, almost read 3 to 4 books each week. Cognitive age, still quite young, even if I'm going to be retired near the end of this year. Cognitive age is young, psychological age is young, although my chronological age is not that young, or my biological age has been following my chronological age. I thought this senility prayer is nice. Grant me the senility to forget the people I never liked anyway, the good fortune to run into the ones I do, and the eyesight to tell the difference. So if you look at this slide, healthy human brain looks that way. But as we age, you see, that's what makes we scared. The human brain would look that way. Already lots of porous places, lots of gaps there. So I was just teaching this course. I'm still teaching at UP, and we teach about neurosciences and the brain and so on. And what we should be more concerned about our brain than our hair. We always think about our appearance or hair as being more important than our brain or our mind. How do we take care of our brain? How do we take care of our mind? If you look at this slide, the young adult's brain is that way. At 94, if you are non-demented, you don't suffer from dementia, it would look like that. It would be like a 77-year-old demented person. So you see, age does not matter. It's just a number. It's what looks inside your brain that really matters. So today we are going to talk a bit about some of the theories on how we can take care of ourselves so that in the autumn of life, we still have a beautiful life. So the theory about successful aging from Rowe and Ken in their biomedical model, and based on MacArthur, this is a study that goes for many years, from the MacArthur grant. What makes a person a successful ager? When there's low risk of disease, in the Philippines, particularly diabetes. Just heard about President Aquino's passing today. Diabetes, heart disease, cholesterol, and all this. Low risk of disease. Number 2 is high cognitive function. So quite alert, quite vibrant, can hold long conversations, have a good attention span. High physical function, can still do much of self-care and exercise and active engagement. Meaning, what are there things in life that makes your life purposeful, that you can pay attention and excited about, that's active engagement. Whether it's advocacy, a group like this, or other charity work, active engagement. So what is lacking in your life? Yeah, if you look at these 4 criteria of successful aging, then if you look at these pictures, these are real pictures of groups that are taking care of their brains with successful aging groups. Yeah. On the left side, okay, so there's group exercise, there's going to classes, you see. In many parts of the world, particularly in Japan, they hold a number of classes for lifelong learners. And here down on the right, still working, yeah, with a fast food chain at this age. In fact, in Japan too, there are restaurants that only hire people above 70. Yeah. And on the left side, you see, they're playing instruments in China. This is a real class, yeah, and they come together in groups to learn the instrument. Yeah. So I have been advocating people to do all these. Yeah. Now, Carol Ryff, however, of UCLA, talks about not just aging, successful aging, but well-being. Hiền hóc, 什麼是叫做hiền hóc? Yeah, there are 6 dimensions. First, think about this: self-acceptance, capacity to see and accept your own strengths and weaknesses. Do you know your strengths and weaknesses? I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. I'm poor in doing household chores. I'm not very good in cooking. I don't cook. But right now, as I've been saying here for some time now, I have to do some of those household chores. Yeah. Positive relations with others is very important, particularly with people, your family, your close friends, to keep these close and valued connections with significant others. Never mind about people that are very far or just Facebook friends. They are not friends anyway, yeah. But close friends, you have to keep it close and connected. Autonomy, if you still have the strength to follow your own personal convictions and choices. Environmental control, able to manage the demands of daily life. So can walk about. Interestingly, in the last maybe 3 years, I'm saying in Hong Kong, the longest lifespan actually in the world for both men and women has been in Hong Kong. And I was trying to, it's such a stressful place. And the rent is so high. Why is it that it could happen here? Because everything's near. Yeah? And I walk about every other day. I go out and walk in the park and so on. And I see old couples holding hands together. So many of them are walking because there are lots of walkways. So they don't have to drive a car and they can go to nearby park or nearby groceries. And a lot of children playing in the atrium, and they could just sit there and watch. Yeah. And right now I'm quite lucky because I'm facing a window of 6 mountains, a range of 6 mountains. If you know the place here in Hong Kong, there are places where there are lots of mountains. Every day I open the window, draw the curtain, and all I could see, wow, what a great place to be in. I think that kind of environment would make people happier. And then there's purpose in life, having goals and plans that give direction and meaning in life. So I've been starting to do my planning after retirement, and I have lots of plans ready. And in fact, I've been offered a number of more teaching and speaking and so on jobs, and I have to say yes to some, but more of them, most of them I have to say no. Otherwise, I would be too hectic and stressful. personal growth, to see yourself growing and feeling that your personal talents and potential are being realized over time would make for a sense of well-being. So I've during this pandemic, I must have done something like 40 or 50 webinars, and just talking about how you see your growth during this pandemic time, because it forces us to think of more important questions. There's a sense that of fulfillment that we are able to share some of the knowledge to lots of universities and other groups. Yeah. So 6 dimensions of well-being. Think about that. Or if you could take down notes and see which one do you rate high here, and which one probably should be improved. And that would make you feel a sense of well-being as well. Okay. For some who are retiring later, retiring soon, already retired, retirement is not that easy, let me tell you. And it should not be abrupt. There are many stages of a retirement, and you should not keep to your job even at when you have arrived at an age, particularly in the Philippines. Most of people at Chinoy are having their own businesses. They should know when to let go and let their children handle the business. Otherwise, there would be lots of and you may not know that you have made bad decisions. So retirement is when you stop living at work and begin working at living. So to retire or not to retire actually was a big problem in third age. Just to think about that. Some people feel that you have to be disengaged, enjoy life. Some people think that you have to be more active. So there are 2 opposing theories. So when I was in Harvard, at Harvard, there's no mandatory retirement for the professors. So I could see my professors who were already, some of them in their 70s. I was a student of Howard Gardner, if some of you know the name, multiple intelligences. They are still very active. They were so brilliant in their thinking, and they could speak quite coherently, not only coherently, convincingly of things, of their theories. So they studied whether those who chose to retire, did they have a better life? Or those who chose to still stay on and teach? So they found out that those who chose to retire were happier with family life, taking care of their garden and of their grandchildren in such sense. But those who still stayed to teach actually were more cognitively engaged. Because talking with your grandchildren or guardian doesn't need a lot of cognitive mental activity. So both ways are important, and you have a choice of whether you want to disengage or to be half-half, to make life easier for you, still staying actively, but that doesn't mean you have to be affiliated with an institution. That's another way of looking at it. So there are 4 modes of adaptation. In psychology, the most important word there is adaptation. So a natural transition, time to slow down, gradually disengaging, a new beginning. You can start something, a new project or a new, a new organization, a continuation of what they are doing. It's selective. What I'm doing is this continuation. I'm thinking, I've not retired yet, but I'm thinking in the future, I probably would be doing almost about the same things, except that I won't be affiliated anymore, maybe with UP. So imposed disruption is bad because you lose highly valued activity, will go to depression and anger and powerlessness. For example, to be laid off this time, or to force you to retire without your inclination would be quite bad for you. Yeah. So it depends on your personality type. The integrated are the best because they are actively engaged. Yeah, not informal work, but informal activities. The armor defended types holding on to their roles defensively. So when I was talking about the Filipino Chinoy business people, I hear so much about this. There are these types. They're in their 90s and still want to hold on to their roles without letting go any of those. Passive dependent, low to medium activity, but stay passive and apathetic. And unintegrated types, this is the worst because they are so disorganized and they deteriorated in cognitive capacity. So when you meet with your high school or friends, are we of the same age? Like some are starting to speak like they are 10 years older than you are, or some are still immature and so on. Yeah, unintegrated, disorganized, weak in emotional control. A lot of old people will suffer some kind of disorientation and even losing, their to scams or things like that because they are so weak in controlling, in emotional control as well. Yeah. So quickly, 7 stages of retirement. When it's so remote, if you are still at your 40s and so on, that's little to prepare for retirement. Near phase, yeah, you are participating in pre-retirement programs. There should be a pre-retirement programs for your group. I remember I spoke on this topic with Swising, the business people, when they were thinking about retirement and how to prepare their executive, staff on how to go about a retirement. Yeah. So you talk about benefits, compensations, honeymoon phase at the start of retirement. Wow, honeymoon, euphoric. May last for a few days or for a few weeks or even a few months. And then it goes to disenchantment phase because your fantasies are broken. It's unrealistic not to be working because you get bored or there's no income and so on. Disenchantment phase. Reorientation phase. Then you have to take stock of things again, pull yourself together. Yeah, reorientation. Yeah, and to develop more realistic plans. Stability phase, you're deciding on the criteria for gauging available choices and evaluation. And lastly, when we go into termination phase, you can no longer function autonomously when you become too sick and dependent to think about retirement. It doesn't happen overnight. It should go through phases. And if we are more prepared in this way, it will make our autumn going seamlessly into winter. Yeah, and not to be bothered with all these burdens of having to worry about work too. Yeah. So before the 4th age comes and before dementia comes, at age 85, yeah, about a half of those who reach 85 would have dementia already. At 95, already about 90%. So how do we take care of our 3rd age, the autumn time, so that we delay dementia? We're not going to let it come earlier. We want it later. Yeah. In fact, I've been studying a few case studies of nuns who are in this Coventry, and all of them live to be 102, 105, and still quite energetic. Macanto nuns, if you are interested. Yeah. And what happens? Why did they live so long and yet not being forgetful? Yeah. Okay. So if you look at the left side, preclinical Alzheimer's, that's what happens. You see, the hippocampus, very important. That's for memory. Hippocampus. Yeah. On the right-hand side, severe Alzheimer's. You see the shrinking of hippocampus is happening. And there are lots of holes now, ventricles there. And the brain is actually, the cortex is shrinking. And that happens when people have Alzheimer's. Incidentally, more and more younger people are also suffering from Alzheimer's. So if you have looked at lots of documentaries, 40-something, 50-something, you start to be forgetful. Yeah. So let's encourage each other to read, to speak, to write, so we will delay Alzheimer's. Yeah. And what happens in Alzheimer's or dementia? Two things. Yeah, the plaques and the tangles. Plaques. Yeah. If you look at the right-hand side, yeah, the plaques are this. It's like plaques on your teeth, taking out the plaques. But also the tangles. They're tangling the neurofiber tangles there. You see, the normal is this way. Alzheimer's would be dirty. So we take care of our neurons so that we will have healthy neurons and that they will connect, yeah, through the synapses very well. Keep on connecting. Yeah, if it is not connecting, the connectivity is lost with poor Wi-Fi, then it's not going to work, the brain. Yeah, two things. Okay, so 10 signs of dementia. I was speaking with a group, and they started to look at these 10 signs and see, yeah, this dementia or Alzheimer's does not happen overnight. Yeah. So memory loss, of course, is the first one. Difficulty performing familiar tasks. Also, you don't know how to type or to do things that you normally could do very well. Problems with language, starting to losing words. Yeah, what's that? Have you encountered anyone who is of that age and starting to what? Cannot remember names, cannot remember streets, and nouns will be the first to get lost, yeah, because nouns are not verbs. Yeah, they lose a number of vocabulary words. Yeah, disorientation in time and place. That's serious already. They don't know where they are and what day is it. Yeah, what time is it? At the start of the pandemic last year, actually, every day seemed the same. And I was speaking with this old lady and said, I cannot even remember what year, what month are we now? Yeah, because every day looked the same. And that would happen because of the uncertainty of time perception, poor or decreased judgment. That's why there are so many scams, yeah, targeting old people. And then problems with abstract thinking, cannot even think logically also or systematically, misplacing things. Yeah, putting your glasses inside the refrigerator and something like that. Yeah, make sure that we look at these signs, not only of ourselves, of course, but of our older siblings or parents if they are still around. Yeah, and change in mood or behavior, because Alzheimer's, one of the features is agitation. They get very agitated because they could not remember so many things. They get angry and they are cranky. Yeah. And changes in personality. All of a sudden, a very, extroverted person becomes withdrawn. Yeah? And a friendly person becomes very unfriendly. Loss of initiative of doing things. Yeah, just being able to wake up in the morning, like to do what you like to do, yeah, is very important for old people. This is near the end of the third age, hopefully. So we better watch out the signs of dementia. So if you look at this, mild to severe, what happens? Disease begins in the medial temporal. Temporal is about memory, short-term memory loss. 2, disease spreads now to lateral and parietal lobes. So you'll have reading problems. I cannot read. I don't understand what I'm reading. Disease spreads now to the frontal lobe, and that's why poor judgment and impulsivity is happening. You see, there is a change of location now, from the medial to the lateral to the frontal lobe, and now to the occipital lobe, meaning even visual problems will now happen because it spreads now to the occipital lobe. So that's 7. It will happen 7 years, 2 years, 2 years, and 3 years. So it stays there a lot, much longer. At the mild stage, it will stay quite long. So 7 stages are like 7, 7. Normal outward behavior, no symptoms. Only PET scan can detect it. Nobody is. It's probably you're just forgetful. Nobody can see the symptoms very clearly. Only the PET scan can detect it. Very mild changes. Someone close to you may pick up now small differences. So ask your wife or husband or your son or daughter. Forgetting a word, misplacing objects. Then goes to mild decline. You start to notice changes in thinking or reasoning. What makes this so effortful, reading something or writing a sentence? You cannot. You have problem of asking questions now repeatedly. Poor in planning your time. How is that going to happen? Or organizing your day? Mild. Goes to moderate. Obvious problems now. Forget what month it is or details about yourself. So in the clinic in St. Luke's Global City, we ask about what's your name? When is your birthday? And so on. Details about yourself. Where did you go to school? Where are you? What country? And so on. Or even problem in putting right amount on a check. And then goes now to moderately severe. Lose track of where you are, what time, trouble remembering address. Severe, recognize face but not name. That's happening to many parents of my friends now. I have lost both my parents because I'm the 7th child, 9 children. So my parents had been gone for quite some time. But now my friends' parents are having this problem, and mistake you for someone else. Don't worry, they will call you by another name, and they have some kind of delusions. They would say they need to go to work now. They will be dressing up at age 95, going to the office, and then very severe decline when they will lose basic abilities of eating, even walking, or even sitting up. So that sounds, quite scary and miserable, right? For old age. But how do we keep on learning to delay all those? So Albert Einstein said, once you stop learning, you start dying. That's my advocacy. Being in the education field for this long and teaching educational psychology, I'm into advocating people after age 40 should still go to school. Now, let me tell you about myself. At age 40, I started to go to take French lessons, French language lessons, because I wanted to test whether I could remember verbs and nouns and conjugation and so on. So I went through at age 40 I went to Alliance Francaise, and I went through 9 levels of French. And then they said they don't have any more classes for me. So I went to take up German. Yeah. And they both are very difficult languages, considering that I have taken Hebrew before, Greek, Spanish, yeah, Latin, Tagalog, Mandarin, Cantonese, of course, and Hokkien, and all these languages. I still find it interesting to be able to still learn at that age. So every 5 years, you have to learn something new. If you want to make new connections in your neurons, you have to learn something new, okay? Benefits. Number 1, it will create curious, hungry minds. Don't make your tummy hungry. Make your minds hungry. One of the best advantages, assets of being a faculty member at UP is we have lifelong ID, library ID access. And since the pandemic last year, we were given so many free, journals and books and so on and so forth. And I started to keep on reading, because every day ProQuest, I get to read and download and make notes. I put down things on notebooks, actually. I have 7 notebooks there, just writing what books I've read and what questions to ask. Hungry minds. Yeah. Number 2, opens your mind. There's so many perspectives about things. Don't narrow your mind to the same things and to the same group of people. Open your mind. Increase your wisdom. Yeah. Starting to, I just finished my 8th book, English book. I have 3 other Chinese books. It's called Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled, Be Wise, Be Well. And I just gather all these webinars that I've been doing in the last several months on how to be wise and be well. Yeah. And sharing those wisdom. Wisdom is now our gift, our asset at this age. Develops your abilities, keep on writing and speaking and so on, and communicating and solving problems. Adapts to change. It will make you more adaptation. Remember that that word? Living is actually a lot of adaptation. Contributes to society, of course, like trying to help you tonight, and makes new friends. Through our learning, continuous learning, we will make new friends. Yeah, make your life happy, yeah, and wise and satisfying at this 3rd age, before the 4th age comes. Before the 4th age comes. So we have to make ourselves healthy. So let me just show how these people were able to overcome their old age by continuing working. Edison worked in his laboratory at age 83. Anyone here who has arrived at that age? Toscanini, one of the best conductors, was still conducting at age 87. Golda Meir became the Prime Minister of Israel at age 71. During that time, it was rare, but this time, with Trump and Duterte at 70-something, it's nothing, huh? People will live longer and longer. Michelangelo painted the ceiling of Sistine Chapel on his back on his scaffold at near 90. So if you have been to the Vatican and look at the ceiling, just looking up already made that as tired. And he worked on that with a scaffold on top of those lots of scaffolds and stairs at near 90. So I read a book about ecstasy and agony, talking about Michelangelo's life. And when he was doing the ceiling of Sistine Chapel, he would not take off his shoes, and he would just was so tired, and just lie down on the bed. After a while, he took up his boots, his boots. And what came out were some of the skin already. He had not taken out his boots for so long, just working on that. He was very engaged, focused on working. Yeah, and one of my favorites is, of course, I Am Pei. So if you've been to Louvre in Paris, he was the one who designed it. And in fact, he also designed the Suzhou Museum. When it inaugurated, he was already age 89, on the one on the right hand side. And my husband and I and our children went to visit to take a look. It was really beautiful, this Suzhou Museum. And of course, the left hand side is a landmark in Hong Kong, Bank of China. And speaking of the Japanese women, Chongsen Dao, these women, these are real pictures of what they're doing. And they give us a look at how we can stay fit and stay sharp and stay connected, even at their age. So how to keep your brain young? 3 points, 3 things. Number 1, stay mentally active. Engage the brain in new ways. Break out old routines. Learn something new. Read and write, as I said. Do some memory training. Try to remember names and telephone numbers, and try to repeat. So you can remember. Exercise reasoning skills and so on. Second, stay physically healthy. Exercise. What exercises do you do? Reduces the gray matter loss, promotes neurogenesis. Keep on that. The neurons are being reborn. We keep on growing new cells. Strengthen neural connections, enhances blood flow. So if you can do 30 minutes 3 times a week, that would be great. 3 times a week. Managing your numbers, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, blood sugar, and weight. Keep it down. Brain healthy diet. Do vegetables, antioxidants, vitamin C, E, beta carotene. What I do actually is I take every day vitamin B complex. There's 1, 3, 6, 12, and so on, and the folic acid will decrease dementia risk. I do that each day, 1 pill for vitamin B and 1 for folic acid for maybe in the last 10 years now. It's good for me. If I forget my vitamin B and I teach until 8:30 in UP, start to get very tired. And these are some of the food that would make you healthy. Lots of vegetables, avocado, and I show those that I do love. Garlic, turmeric, broccoli. The first one was the first one, no, spinach. The first one, spinach is my favorite. Spinach, broccoli, blueberry is very good. Blueberry is good for the heart and the head. It's very, very important. And then salmon, favorite food. Eggs every day. It's not no longer you cannot eat eggs and so on. When we were young, my mother would put an egg in front of you in every morning. And the milk as well. And then nuts. I'm such a nut person. I have to have nuts every day. Nuts and green tea. Take green tea from morning till evening. Okay. Third is to maintain self-efficacy. Confidence that you can do something. When you have high self-efficacy, then you will approach a task. If you have low self-efficacy, you will keep on avoiding. Oh, I'm too old. I cannot do this. Let the young people take over and so on. You have to adapt. This is the third time I use the word adapt. Adapt to technology. That's why I know how to Zoom for the last 3 semesters and share screen with all kinds of universities and with their whatever they ask me to speak on or to teach. Adapt, maintain a degree of independence. Make sure that you sustain social ties, friends and family. Social life is very important. If you are not speaking, if you have not been speaking for a long time, you'll have a problem of speaking. Not only of the words, but even the mouthing, the muscles will forget. How your tongue. Yeah. So in Japan, they would teach these very old people just to move their mouth. Yeah, to move their tongues. Keep a positive outlook on life and manage your stress. Whatever stress you have, don't put the stress until very late in the evening. I'll say, okay, tomorrow morning, I'll take care of that. I even make an appointment with at 10 a.m. Deal with whatever stress. So for tonight, you can take a good night's sleep. Manage your stress. Say no. If you don't feel comfortable with something or someone, say no. Manage your stress. And so stay young while the rest of the world grows old. For mine is not old. Keep stretching it. Your life is not over. Keep enjoying it. Your strength is not gone. Keep developing it. And then your opportunities have not vanished. Keep pursuing them. Invent, create opportunities for yourself. And for me personally, your God is not dead. Keep seeking him. Okay? So I would end here so that we'll have time for question and answer. Thank you very much.
多谢相关博士和咱真好的讲解。伫咱未开始咱的 Q&A 之前，咱未进行到咱的问题解答的时阵，咱只是要请 Mr. Jackie Chan 甲咱来主持合上的代志。咱只是将落嘅时间交予 Jackie Chan。Mr. Jackie Chan。
好阿咪。
好阿咪。
请咱隆重的 camera 解开者，咱要来合上者。OK， 好，1、2、3，看按 camera。OK， ก็ใส่ป่ะ OK 1、2、3請咱 camera 解開啫，多謝。OK， 好，1、2、3。OK， 好勢啦，多謝 ，Thank you。
多謝 Mr. Jackie Chan。現在咱只是要開始進入問題解答。頭一方面呢，請恁佇要發問之前，將正手舉起來，咱先後處事佇遐來發問。咱會做直接咱的主講人相關博士佇遮來表達咱的問題，或者呢將恁的問題寫落拍入 chat box 內面 ，OK。所以咱只是要開始來發問題。現在座唔知有誰有備辦問題，或者你舉手舉起來，自由佇遮來發表。唔知有任何人有無？若無，我遮有2、3條問題個吼。相關博士請問，你拄則有提到 我實要我理智醫學。OK， 你有講到一點個嗬，我實要我理智醫學。這個普通是在咱青年的時代啊，或者講中學生的時代，在這個抗戰呢，是唔是在迄個發育的 process 的時陣呢？伊嘅心理咧改變，還是咧發展呢？比較較千變萬變。因為咱知影中學生個嗬，中學生喺中學嘅時陣呢，我相信咱大家人攏有看到一款嘅情況哦，就是中學生喺班內有一寡呢真愛搗蛋，真愛講先生7號名、8號名、凊彩號名。相信是伫這款咱所講的呢，應該伫這個點前呢，我實要我理智醫學，伫咱有款的志願要來學習的時陣呢，但是卻有一寡中學生，咱看到講說比較較調皮，因為心理哦是唔是伫這個抗戰呢演變比較較無爽，還是怎樣？或者呢，是唔是有 reflect？反映出講說，因佇家庭呢有受到是大人父母迄款嚴格的管教，還是講說因佇以往求學的時陣呢，還是講咱講佇小學的時陣呢，是唔是有拄到一款無好不如意的代志，還是怎樣？請你來甲阮分享者。
等你講伊個控制嘅是個，唔是咧講即陣嘅點正個。The point that I use that is to say that at every decade we have different concerns in life. Yeah, at age 15 you're still learning and so on. Hopefully by age 70, then you will know what is right and wrong. And Aristotle in Plato, in fact, said that if we have done a good job as a teenager, then we can enjoy wisdom at our age, at this middle life or old age. In other words, we won't have so much regrets and procrastinations, wasted life. Yeah. So we take care of our life even at the young age of 15, and hopefully that would be smooth until age 70. During that time, age 70 was kind of old, right? But these days, we have to remember many of us will live till 90-something and so on. So we have a very long autumn, yeah, hopefully, without having to suffer all this dementia of you talk about the family. Family is the most important unit in a child's life. So when I teach child psychology, we talk about parenting as a very important part of raising our children to be wise. Yeah, and in fact, my first book was Raising Wise Dads and Moms and Kids. We are raising dads too, because we have not learned how to be dads and moms too. So there are lots of theories about attachment and parenting style and so on. That's another topic for me. But the point is parents do contribute to how a child would develop, particularly morally, yeah, and emotionally, socially, and spiritually, as well as cognitively. So the environment that the parents provide for children would be very important. So using my own example, I'm not a perfect parent, but when my kids were young, for both of them, I didn't go to work until both of them reached the age of 5. So that meant 8 years, because they are 3 years apart. So for 8 years, I stayed home and just enjoyed being a full-time mother. So I was rather late in starting my career at UP already, because waited for my kids to grow up and to go to school. And because I know very well how important attachment is, securely attached, not the insecure or ambivalent kind of attachment. That will bring them to their own relationships in the future as well. Secondly, children, the most dangerous thing that will happen to our children's development at this age is no longer just the peers in school, but technology, social media. Yeah, so I do a lot of studies and teaching about the dangers of social media and how people become bullies and becoming so mean, quarreling and so on because of their impulsiveness and so on. So emotional regulation is not practiced because people say all the mean things because they are anonymous. People don't use their real names. They don't have to show up themselves. And it's mediated. It's not face-to-face. When you have to be face-to-face with someone, then you cannot say all those mean things. Yeah. But when you are just facing a machine, a screen, yeah, we are screenagers these days, not teenagers anymore. So that makes for the difference. And so moral education is still very important. And how it will happen, the parents have a very important responsibility, how to say no to kids. These days, parents don't know how to say no to kids. They're more afraid of their own children than having a conviction on what to say yes and what to say no. So when I talk about Confucius, of course, I'm not what year was he referring to this age, but the point is that at every age, at every decade of our own lives, we have different concerns. In fact, people, when they have to, during the birthday and it's 59 and now you're on the 60s and so on, you have another set of expectations of life, and you have another set of feelings of how you will do the next 10 years. So let's do every 10 years some kind of assessment of how we did the last 10 years or the last 5 years. Yeah, thank you.
多謝。請問關係到這個你拄則提到的 Alzheimer 的問題講，咱經常是等下有發現到，有注意到的時陣，才會叫咱要注意做什麼代誌。那麼喺這個事先之前哦，當咱發現到有 Alzheimer 之前，請問唔知是到底有什麼幾點、兩三點較重點的所在哦？咱先記得來俾辦學者講說有一寡什麼preventive measure 個，互咱將來較袂拄到。
OK， 第一項是困眠最重要。你若無困好勢吼，隔日你也短吼。要當困吼，暗暝咧困吼是 actually 敢咱像they flush out the garbage, flushing out the garbage. So actually, if you, I ask my students to watch some of the TED Talks. So it's flushing out. Di na bo kay flush the toilet, the tao go, yeah, cluttered and yeah, buay chiang ha, yeah, te tiong yao ye kun. So even for kindergartens and so on, wa kang hoy parents say, di man kwa I di gin na hun so, di to kwa I kun ho sebo. Yeah, I ami 有時間去困，還是咧。一啲做 game 呢個也重要。second 就是叫 exercise 啦。even 我是比較冇愛 exercise 啦，我係看手甲呢囡仔時搞也 sporty hiking 咁咩skiing and so on， 種 diving and so on， 個我是咧看因嘅物件，個咧看冊。Of course, because although when we were young, my parents were like Howard Gardner. 已經有阮就去參加電競，所以大家人參加電競。呢個電競我是我阮教囡仔，我 actually 也個行也直行好勢吼。And of course, 較喘吼，嗰時有 asthma 安尼個吼，呢個也重要 exercise. But every day I try to do some bending, and every other day go out and walk. Yeah. 第三重要嘅我是食啦，就照時間食啦。也最人到這個黑子我說我無胃口啊，咱就有食福呢吼。 食物件哦，就照時間，就叫做啥 discipline 吼，食雞子啦 ，lots of 雞子กับ菜類。Yeah, I like nuts. Yeah, and of course I'm not very regulated. 我也做snacks but every day I think I'm good with having lots of green tea. I'm such a tea person. For maybe last 30 years, every morning ko kilay si dim English breakfast tea. And then the whole day, dim Japanese tea or jasmine tea and so on. And I only take one cup of coffee, and it should not be beyond 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I think we have a good habit of not having soda, Coca-Cola too much. It's only for very rare occasion when people don't serve tea or water, then do use soda. Gina ho mang feed them some soy ha no ya zui thang ya zui soda. So sahang ya kantan na mingkya pero then feel mo trọng yao ho kun lang ko ya yabang wa ko lang cham yang go tiam chang wa sa di tan di ka zui he di cha kwa mai and and you will know what will happen to your brains, neurogenesis and all of this. Of course, then to keep our weight down. I'm lucky to be keeping my weight always for so many years without a change. But I think we have to be conscious of that. Among cảm giác也學氣，中頭嘅啲學氣，食也做物件simple things like that. Yeah, I think somebody is raising the hand.
Oh yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am Rosalind Wee. Jianin Huapiao.
Good evening. Good
Hi.
evening, Dr. Koo. Thank you for your talk. It's very informative. Very, we understand a lot. I have a question, but before I ask you the question, there's something to do with what Joseph was asking you. I was invited by the Japanese government to go to Japan, to Fukuoka, and there's a place called there's a place called Miyakunojo.
Yeah,
you know that.
Yeah, I've been to Fukuoka, Kyushu, and so on.
Yes. So I went to further in Miyakunojo. There's a place where they put all the ladies or the girls with dementia.
Right.
Okay. So why did they ask me to go there? Because there's no more place in Japan to put 40% of the women
centenarian
has dementia. 40%. And I couldn't understand why. I said, why 40%? 40% is a lot. Yeah. 40% Right. So I cannot understand why. But I was trying to analyze, is it because of the culture?
Actually,
because lan Philippines lan kap lang like. But in Japan, they have a different culture, So I don't know if that is the reason why they have like 40% women who have dementia.
Yeah, actually, Miss Wee, in we dipun in a lifespan yateng. So it centenarians, so it gets helo. So that's why in a percentage katwa kasi in 85 years above law. So it's a ko. In fact, Okinawa ko is a blue zone. Lang de study kwa in chunga kana in laibin takalang hian teng he su ko. So in a food si diet Okinawan diet si de chon se kai le other than Mediterranean and so on ko. Dipun actually in tui in a lao lang ya ho na in a gerontology kapa old age centers chonga ya so if you if you read the documents of in how did they in 就是叫做 third 應叫做 third age center 是什麼？所以老人通去搭學物件，通學紙隻，通三級社交個。But what you said is very important. 菲律賓人也 social 啦，所以我哋中國人喺菲律賓我哋學因嘅這個嘢也 social 安尼，我也愛三級出門個。日本我有一個也大嘅problem 哦，因有一個叫做 hikikomori。while lang ko si tiam sulay not only for a week or a month si pandemic time but years mo ay sulay lo. Why? Inya happy with just with the games and the technology and so on. So tiga hikikomori si tiga yato ay problem usi why lang o kay kikya ko ho in sidiao lang ya ko mtsanya le na until why neighbors pick something in sa kipo piana. Yo, we in China o in epay na case in kay ki ko ho in kiang cao tay pa lang lo se ya kwa ki ko mo ko khui tang ye Venetian blind 的意思是我冇啲啲則叫偏嚟 and so on 也可能係因為因嘅個個性我是也 repress 啦冇像也菲律賓人也 expressive 但有小塊惡掉 which is 好個嗬嗱 then I with family and so on 然後因為這人冇愛結婚冇愛成家咯但係人愛孤單所以孤單actually is not bad alone is not bad but loneliness is bad 你那介嘅時陣你也個有真嘅三個朋友 that's more than you need 唔是用嘅幾千嘅 friends on Facebook but no friends at all 所以講呢deep friendship is lost 我見下你也做朋友是幾50年咯朋友對小學教這對幼稚園教這人個你若看你嘅家己也是你嘅孫因個 mobility 也見啦因為徛這個徛迄個徛and so on 冇咁長嘅 friendship like we used to have and 但這冇個什麼clan meetings 咯點解但是也個有嗰隻同鄉會安尼什麼校友會什麼 all kinds of association 或者 network 較闊個即就是人家己對迄個 machine so 我哋講 about games and gadget and technology 個是screenagers go prefer machines than people. Machine meaning the screen. In a botige laptop, botige cell phone in boy what lo. Nong zong mingya, nong zong friendship, nong zong work ye hong di hita ho. In bochung then yako then si kyoto immigrants or digital immigrants the issue then msi born with digital in our hands ko. But right now, people are so digitalized, even their lives go si kanan sino si sige avatar lang, sige robot lang. They don't. In we dan kwa lang face to face kong we what in we ole ka joy special education SNC ha, why children with autism zu bi zhen you know in we ya kuin si kwa machine lang, in we yao kap lang in we dito kwa eye to eye eyeball to eyeball contact man dan kwa lang bak jiu dan kabi kong we dan sai get your hige feeling hige gestures and from we go with tone and so on these things are lost so it's called hyper-personal communication theory personal I miss you I love you and so on not mean it you are too friendly texting but when in fact you are not as friendly when as a real person
Okay, thank you Dr.
You're welcome
Mr. Jackie 咱嘅 chat box 有個問題冇OK 咱嘅校友會理事長上總嘅副理事長施先生請你發表
Sir Delphine, please unmute 啫，多謝多謝。
OK，有聽到咯，unmute啦，有啦嚇。這上文博士多謝你咁講工作個對咱嘅身心過真有利益啦，嚇。因為說你當我工作那種睡眠真重要，佢到我這個年齡個比如我70左右嘅年齡個暗時常常會困，你個困起半暝醒就會個困，你個有啊，但是我要想常常去食安眠藥個，有時用安眠藥個，你會掉啊是什麼體個嗬？而且你啊食安眠藥落去個。當然你會較好困啊，咁是，但是對這食安眠藥對咱嘅身軀有什麼大嘅影響啊？
安眠藥袂用食久嘅啦，可能親像2禮拜啦，還是 something like that 啦。因為長久食哦，頭先目個無效咯，第二項哦對你嘅身軀有歹處點個嗬？這位先生個，因為你要找你嘅點鐘什麼地。你幾點會第一好困啊？
幾點第一困？1、2點。
你幾點結困啊
？11點好鐘。
哦，你10點你要創啥？未困以前
？10點我創真多物件，假使有陣我是一個代誌你無用個，這個點有一個問題個哦，若較有緣你話我會看 TV 啊，
哦，因為哦，你未困以前哦，你袂用閣創代誌咯。
哦，
你會掛意，大大入去個，所以你1點鐘前我就開始有備要困，毋是創啊到落尾 second 落則困個吼。第二項哦，日子袂用困啦，你若有要 nap 哦，袂用加20分鐘啦，你若困也長哦。第三項哦，叫做啥？你就好家己哦，還是就出力啦嚇，physically 吼，你才會先，無你無你先嘛，吼，你就有 physical 嘅movement，安尼mobility 吼。actually，我甲我嘅學生個，我叫因填一個 sleep diary 啦。in fact，我合作 organisation 上，我講。你一禮拜個，你家己寫，你天間幾點起來？哦，你啉幾杯咖啡啊？你幾點開始去困？了你 finally 困 ，more or less 你結你則答個嗬。For a week 個你都 study 你嘅 pattern 哦，你嘅 sleep patterns 哦，你看你迄日有創啥，還是無創啥呐？你較好困，還是較無好困？了 of course 較濟迄個人愛直直去廁所嗬。所以你幾點開始忙個啉水，你就 study 吼。hopefully 第這項啊，袂用有火啦，袂用開火啦。我無愛你去跋倒啦嘛，去廁所，比如忙看時間。你若看時間，你會愈急。你說人很濟點鐘過去，我也閣未困。第二項我你忙聽有法去廁所，若免開火較好啦。但係你就要 careful 慢去跋倒吼。你若個你開火去個，你迄個來做好好，等咧迄個精神起來吼。了我of course 迄個 temperature 也重要啲，傷熱還是傷寒。哦 ，I'm very particular about blankets， 所以迄個 blankets 哦。我這個天時是要用一個還是兩個，多一個 and so on。迄個 perfect 嘅迄個template也重要 for me， 那要困吼。所以I'm quite lucky 個吼，我 almost 唔捌insomnia。The only times that I had jet lag 呢，like 去英國去美國安尼1-2日lang安尼吼。So during that time 我若點到迄代時陣，我則退1粒lang for 1 melatonin 哦，你通困迄日好勢吼。所以咱就講這困哦，唔是 automatic 嘅物件，就prepare for it，monitor it， 哦，了再 assess it， 看你是有迄日傷飽吧，還是你 叫做啥啉伤侪 coffee 吧。有時陣咱暗暝若去互人請，個吼直直泡茶到倒來，伊個茶上加多，啊是直直啉國，啊無別款的drinks 吧，無你家己帶啲 drinks 我愛帶 fruit juice 家己點下 drink 個 fruit juice，個免得要叫 waiter 叫我偌久，就俾到對一杯水，你家己注意啲 intake 啦是啥物
OK， 個這個問題個吼，你暗暝我 slide 寫出來我物件個吼，你我報出來我寫出來我物件個，感覺有做真濟項個吼，過時，但就以我年齡嘛，上去翻掉所物件咯，個所以隨時會記人個名咯，干那個吼，你將我 slide 個 compile 出來個，當上等咱個主持人個吼，把它等我做一個參考唄。
usually 我嘅 slide 我無幫互迄個 organisation 啦，譬如你若要愛倒一個 slide 我會用寄互恁嘅主持人，你是要講迄個 dementia 吧，迄個 memory loss and
我真濟我物件
迄個 slide 我會用寄互
你係報上還是有要緊啊？開始做物件有陣對咱也是重要嘅，等咱更加了解些，到底咱所犯嘅物件是啥物，就怎麼來預防。
Actually 我物件也做有寫佇我嘅迄個冊啦 ，Seasons of Life，Seasons of Love， 我有寫一個冊，我佇菲律賓叫做 Seasons of Life，Seasons of Love。迄個冊有寫我 7 stages of retirement, 7 phases of retirement, 7 stages of dementia and so on。我迄個兩個 slide 則寄互恁啦嚇。
你有個迄個你說是 season of life 就得去佇咧位 national bookstore 有咯哇？是啥物？
無，national bookstore 是擺冊，迄個 One True Love 及Guarding Your Heart and Mind。你知我叫做 CSM 啦，伊叫做 CSM。I think 因有點 online 對不對？因有我影迄個 publisher 互恁嘅主持人，伊則寄互恁。In actually I think during these weeks in the sale 吧，因有 promo， 所以 I think they are selling through Lazada then or Shopee or something。
你好勢，阮人去買，假使我暗暝感覺你所講嘅個。對咱種較有嘅人是非常有路用啦，個問題較好笑問題個我就是真對你會出答案。人個說你爸爸出個吼，會減少你阿生要種有影無？
有影in a way，可是你就 train 啲 memory， 你就會記你有什麼擺個吼，所以你若會記個大吉話咯，個 Judy 大吉話咯個一擺要30要叫佢做。environmental 是啥物啊 social welfare secretary 就無類個伊一擺咧甲我講，因阮佇 UP 咧上咧做人dissertation 嘅 panel， 伊說有影 Grace 有影那伊嘛種good 行嘅袂 cognitive， 我說伊說因為伊懷朋友伊是菲律賓人，懷朋友懷咱人逐個也人大教麻雀啦，我說我袂曉伊麻雀個，譬如我知影迄個你 how about 你若行嗰時麻雀唔通用錢啦，唔通博繳啦，你若 as a game， okay like other board games like Monopoly, like Scrabble and so on， so it's good for your mind. Puzzle is very good. Puzzle, Sudoku， 你知影 Sudoku 伊個一個 number 吼。所以也好啦，因為伊 train 你會記啲物件，了會記會 flexible， 你個 number 就安尼，才有法 with 這個 total 安尼所on。所以個也好啦，譬如咱問gamble 啦，可是伊個麻雀也最人是唔錢嘅 ，which will not be good 咯，博繳去咯。
跟你歹去哈。主要是講說你即像你本冊嘅名個吼，叫我怎樣買你家將伊當個主持人個吼，阮若去買就兩本冊來做參考啊吼。尤其咱這個年齡個是真重要咯個吼。安尼多謝哈。
你寫有學啊？你寫出來咯。How can you sustain positive thinking and attitude in every decade? We may lose some as we age. 請您解答。
positive thinking is good ko, but sometimes positive feelings dan man kong sa tahang the positive feelings. So kong sige example, di na kong si cha ho be like ko, di sa what the hwahi positive feelings ko. Di your fear lo. Di to negative feelings di zai zao, di zai find a way to escape the lion or the tiger ko. So positive thinking or positive psychology has been around just 20 years. Yeah, and it's a gaining ground ko because the origin is then by psychology and psychiatry though. See that in what's wrong. So in concept, how about let's go into what's right? Yeah. Chunga lang na usami character strengths sa likman ha. Kung se paladan use our strengths for the betterment of other people. But positive feelings and positive thinking should not just be self-absorbed. Horgwa, ko lang zuigwa. Di na do self-absorbed di do be to happiness, di do be to joy. Ito other-oriented, altruistic, positive community pantry is positive thinking. Wito palang siyong. That should be good. How about sustaining positive thinking? Is I think then to be people of hope. Are you hopeful? It's like that is hope. Hope shines the brightest when you are in the darkest hours. Lang na bo hope ko every day ko usin hockey as is sin untien ko iti po what positive negative. Are we just going downhill and toward death nowhere? Yeah. So if you are positive about your future, then you should believe something higher than yourself, greater than yourself. Na di future life ko will be even better. The best is yet to come, and that will be a key to positivity in your thinking. So as we get older, dam si do kang ko sim as si do pai siang te. Zui lang si do zui he sa do so siang te lo. Kanan wisdom lo. It's a ming keep lo. Some things don't matter lo. Tuahang tai chi pian soyang tai chi. Soyang tai chi pian bo tai chi. Go create a fuss about everything. Not everything matters. Some things don't matter. If you just know which things matter, that's wisdom. Okay. Somebody, Helen, hi. Who's Helen? Helen who? Is dementia
reversible? Yeah.
Is dementia reversible? Sadly, no. It can be slowed down. What stage yaku? So that after di ako di stage 2 anyway. That's stage 3. But it will not go back to pre-dementia. We can delay. And curiosity is the antidote to dementia. Di na ako curiously takliti ako ay tanya machine work some of my friends older than me are still taking Coursera and so on. So they talk sa me plumbing. Is it do it? So they talk plumbing because I say plumbing work and so on. That's curiosity. Ikaw kinain de kong yakin pa. Curious about things. I'm curious about lang. Curious gossip about lang. Curious about subject matters. I every day I read lots of philosophy. I love philosophy, history, psychology, theology, and all this. So I have lots of notebooks on it, and I'm so curious. Gonna talk to origins, how can it be applied and so on. Curiosity is an antidote to dementia. OK。
唔知也個有無？Jackie，有一條問題哦。
Sir, bolo.
有無？也七百數問題個無 Jackie 啊
？Bolo sir, bolo sir.
OK，有一條問題哦。都只要講到 lifelong learning 嘅七個 benefits 個 ，OK。
好。
然後邊頭哦，有講到 Albert Einstein 有講一句話個哦 ，Once you stop learning, you start dying。咱人哦有一句話哦，意思係個，我想講咱人有一句話說學無止境個，所以你講 lifelong learning 個有七個 benefits 個。那有啲第五項哦，你有講到 adapt to change 個採納改變 ，OK。
You are a good translator。
咱人哦有一句話你講過吼，登山過山，人生難改。所以當咱咧採納改變時，就特別從年中嗰咱咧講到伊 attitude、伊嘅 behavior、伊嘅 cycle 個吼，也個有機會通改變偌濟，還是要怎樣改變，還是其他方面，甲實際有法通改變。
Yeah, then the personality is set at age 3 ha, 9歲個 ，but now 啲個core personality 袂變個，你是啊 conscientious 嘅人，你啊負責任個，你凊彩做什麼物件，佢也負責任啦。我哋嚟講 adaptation 個是啲 context 啲 situation 啊，啲這個 situation 嘅時陣個，像啲for example 嚇，啲愛情去想嗬，in your own personal life 啲愛情去想咗。But if you are asked to go to 這個山頂啊，是這個squatter area to do something 個，你無法多啲嘅情去想 ，to the fact 個呢，你唔敢做，你唔敢食，你唔敢安尼個，你會變 offend 佢the other person 咁是，所以你for a while 你 adapt to 佢嘅 situation，而你無法 for a very long time 啦，無法也等啦，所以一陣啊個。The pandemic, the quarantine, lockdown, who suffer more? The extroverts. What extroverts? Si takpay to tsuki, to ki party, ki kablang kaupwe ko, in suffer more than the introverts. Introverts, it means yung keto adaptation. In more or less in the lives is in item sulay anyway. So imbo ki yang hantoa. But extroverts, inka kang ko adjust adaptation si adjust ko di adjust to a situation ni si chun ko pero si chun ko mo phát chung ke ku ko ho dan adjust dan lights dem dan cell phone di ai ka kang si ka am ka sia ko ho khai si chun e kang ko pero like di ka ke di show chui da ke di piang chui ko hi adjustment ya drastic di kang ko pero dia ke di ke piang chui ka ku le si chun ko di keng adapt lo di keng adapted to hi piang chui di poi kam tak ya piang asika am ka ya show lo so he is got to adaptation. It's gradual it may be harder at the start, but once a person is dan lang ko te ho it's a survival instinct is that we can adapt we lang ko I sit ki ye kyong hua si sia ko si how after a few months or a few years ko i-adapt lo to the loss. Di kỳ quái. Ai ko yan. Now on the other hand, 我人是開始也有錢了，這邊也驚，開始時陣也艱苦個。But at the same time, after a while, you thrive, you survive. Not only survive, but thrive. See what adapt to a new situation. So he có cho adaptation ko. So ito na din siyang all the way, quay han toa drastic pa pwet sap to ko. But dan from laksap to ki laksago to. Ani ban. Of course, then in a very yaho a situation di balik to di thermostat. Ano what adjust to submissive show. Yeah.
最後一兩條問題，唔知在座也有誰啊要發表，那無咱就要結束今暗嘅講座會。唔知也有誰要發表，你哋這啲舉手直接用咱嘅主講人來發表，有無？ OK， 那是无，咱这时请本会吸油会一天常务理事陈义杰吸油，直接来致谢时。
大家好，咱今仔真荣幸的哦，伫到咱一个菲律宾国立大学心理学教授哦，上官贤运博士个来甲咱讲解哦，交分享哦，咱人人生到秋季哦，生活的种种在提示交指点个哦，互咱明白哦，说人生到一个秋季哦，咱生活哦，要保持一个良好的心理状态哦，要明白哦，说咱人到咱人生到一个秋季哦，身体健康是重要，心理健康是搁较重要个哦，一个密切的关系个哦，搁互咱提高咱人人生到秋季的时，咱对咱人生的价值观哦，搁互咱提高个，或说咱也受动用的安尼个，互咱得到真侪才也对咱有益处的知识个。我伫遮代表个菲律宾高中学院个总分校6972校友会个团体职员哦，交代表今仔来参加咱一个讲座会，跩学长哦、同学朋友哦，来向咱今仔一个讲座会主持人哦，伊一个字伫香港啊。哦，这个上官贤运哦博士，该叫一声万二分的感谢哦，感恩哦。同时呢，我也是要感谢今仔暗来参加咱这个讲座会哦，各位学长哦、同学交朋友个哦，真欢喜有人伫梦中哦，相甲交恁互相的交流交学习个哦。最后。祝大家哦，祝咱跩人已经到秋天的咯个哦，包括我在内哦，跩朋友个哦，逐个人哦，人老哦，不过心袂老啦，哦，互咱时时刻刻个保持一个年轻开放的心个哦，咱这时代也咧渐进个哦，互咱一个人生，咱到秋季的时候，一个生活哦。过得搁较精彩哦，充满阳光个哦，太阳闪闪哦，多谢大家个哦，多谢。我这只哦，我这只也顺便要提这哦，咱6月27个哦，是咱庙口高中哦98周年的华诞个哦，我这个是代表。用个6972吸油会哦，做一个机会哦，来遮甲咱庙口高中祝贺一个哦，祝咱庙口高中生日快乐个哦，祝咱庙口明天更加美好，更加辉煌。好，多谢，大家晚安。
谢谢。想那么为记哩，人生在秋天尤其美。多谢各位今暗踍日参加今暗的讲座会，多谢各位，拜拜。
拜拜。
Stay safe, everybody.
咱讲座会到此啊结束。